Right, question for you. Yes, I sagged off the beard. Yes, it looks bad. I know I'll grow it back. But anyway, here's the question. What is the newest current retro console, in your eyes? Because I was always pretty firm on my stance, but then I had a conversation with the 8-Bit Barber on one of his live streams, and my mind's kind of flicked. Because think back to the early 2000s, right? The Xbox had just come out, the PS2 had just come out, and we just got the GameCube. I think everybody considered the SNES a retro console at that point, yeah? But here's the thing, at the release of the PS2, the SNES was only a 10-year-old console, meaning that if we follow that logic, the Xbox One is already a retro console. You see the problem? And for me personally, in my head, I think the N64 is the newest console I can actually sit here and confidently say is retro. And that's not because of its age or its technology or anything like that. It's just based on pure vibes. You know what I mean? It feels the most dated, if that makes sense. But for me, right, a lot of people are sitting here and saying, right, the Xbox 360 must be a retro console. And I see the argument, but there's just one counterpoint. For me, the Xbox 360 was the first generation where graphics stopped impeding gameplay. A lot of early 2000s shooters really struggled emphasizing what things were, and then the technology and the controllers were there, and nothing's really changed since then. Yes, graphics have improved, RTX is a thing now for better lighting, 4K is more common, but as an overall, the technology and the kind of development cycles remain pretty much the same since then. If I go back and play a game from 2006, right, there is a lot smaller of a difference between then and now than there was between like 2006 and 5 years ago, right? There was a big difference between the start of the Xbox original and the start of the 360. Whereas between the 360 and now, yes, things look better, but it's nowhere near as big of a comparison. We've kind of hit that point of kind of hyper-realism where you're not gaining anything by adding more visuals. You will look nicer, but there's no actual benefit, you know what I mean, as far as gameplay goes. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to see, and pretty visuals do make it for a better experience, but they don't define an experience, you know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of why I'm sat here and I can't really mentally convince myself the Xbox 360 is a retro console. So I don't know, for me it's the fact that the technology hasn't really changed enough to warrant really a new generation at this point. Like, we're, what, 5 years into the Series S PS5 generation at this point, and you can't really tell. Most of the next-gen exclusives are just there because they don't want to make another version of the game and enough people have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X now. The previous generations might run slightly worse or look slightly worse, but as a whole they're the same game and there's not really enough of a difference to a point where I can't... as far as I'm concerned, the Series X is just a variation of the Xbox One. There's not enough difference for me to sit here and confidently go, that is a different platform. The biggest performance benefit you're going to get is just having an SSD in the console. It's as simple as that. I don't know. Let me know what you think, because this is a very divisive topic and I'm always open to suggestions here. But for me, the earliest console I can still confidently call retro is probably the N64. But drop us a follow. We're on the road to 350 followers now, which is an insane number. And I'll see you in the next one.